Welcome back to Proxy Hammer, everybody. And today I wanted to do a video on something I found when looking through the new Eldar Codex. And I'll be honest, when I first looked at the Eldar Codex and I saw that Dire Avengers were now an Elite's choice, I was a little skeptical of how good they would actually be in a otherwise crowded slot. But I found that through some of the research that I did in the book, Dire Avengers are actually probably the best elite choice that is available to Eldar for killing pretty much everything, aside for the kind of heaviest of tanks and things like that. And basically, it's, if you just take Dire Avengers by themselves, this won't be possible. They're just going to be, your average kind of infantry killing unit. But with the right combination, it can be extremely OP. So I'm going to let you guys in on a little combination that I discovered looking at the book. And, this may be nerfed coming up within the next, months and months or so, or whenever they come out with a new FAQ for this book. But for now, it's probably one of the most overpowered, in my opinion, combinations that are available to Eldar. And it will take enemies completely by surprise if they expose themselves to Dire Avengers. So let's take a look at first what we need for the combo, right? What do we need to make this magic happen? So we're going to need a squad of 10 Dire Avengers. Now this kind of goes against, kind of the MSU style that Eldar like to play nowadays. But with the new codex, it's actually a little bit more in fashion to sometimes occasionally take bigger units when you're going for an XARC power or something like that. So we're going to need a squad of 10. We're going to need the XARC to have the Shredding Fire XARC power and dual Avenger Shuriken Catapults. Remember, we want to maximize damage on this. These guys are not, this combination is not for holding objectives. It's not for, kind of tying up enemy units in combat through attrition. This is a pure killing machine. So we need to have as much killing power as possible. We're also going to need the custom craft rolled trait, Hail of Doom, which I actually think is one of the best custom craft rolled traits in the book because it works for all shuriken weapons, not just Dire Avenger Shuriken Catapults. And what it essentially does is any shuriken weapon that rolls a 6 to hit automatically wounds. So yes, you heard that right, auto wounds. And it procs a shuriken ability. It counts as a 6 to wound. So not only are you auto wounding pretty much anything, but you're getting it -2 AP out of it as well, which is insane. And this is army-wide. So we're going to need the Hail of Doom custom craft rolled trait. We're also going to need the Stratagem not Bladestorm. What am I talking about? We're going to need the Stratagem Bladestorm. And if it's available, it's not necessary for this, but if it's available, Avengers of Azurian will allow the unit to shoot twice. So basically doubling any damage if the unit is damaged. Now, this won't always be a thing, just because, Avengers of Azurian, just like the old Codex special rule that gave Dire Avengers bonuses if they were damaged, it's not always going to be in effect, and it's not always going to be the most effective. But if you're able to protect them in a Wave Serpent, and let's say one of them dies along the way, it could be useful in certain circumstances. So I put that in there as a option. And then lastly, a Farseer with Guide if that's available. All right, so once again, the question is, well, why bring a max squad of Dire Avengers in a minimum unit size meta? Won't they just run away from leadership issues? And yes, this is true. That is an issue, but this unit is so valuable in the Alpha Strike that I think a good Eldar player could mitigate that a lot, especially since we have a lot of stratagems that can, we have an ability through the general stratagems in the book that just allows us to pass a morale test if we need to. So, it's not a big deal. We have plenty of rerolls as far as leadership tests can go. So, bringing one max squad of Dire Avengers isn't going to be a big deal. And bringing a max squad is going to be able to effectively maximize Guide, Bladestorm, Shredding Fire, and also the Avengers of Azurian rules. So, in case some of you are wondering, you might be thinking, well, Dire Avengers weren't ever really that strong at shooting to begin with. They were kind of more of an objective holder. But that's changed with this edition. They now have a new weapon. It's the Avengers Shuriken Catapult. And this thing slaps. This thing has -2 AP base, Assault 3, and since it's a Shuriken weapon, on 6s to wound it has -4 AP. What that means is that if you're rolling 6s to wound, which should be pretty easy with the combination that, I have with this unit, you're going to be shredding anything in 3+ armor is not going to get an armor save unless it's in cover and it's benefiting from, I believe it is light cover, which is +1 to armor. My God. So this is going to shred through most units in the game, and even Terminators are only going to get a 6 up or a 5+ invul against this thing. And that is just insane. Now, as far as the XARC upgrade, you're going to upgrade it with Shredding Fire. I know a lot of you may be tempted to use the Stand Firm, I think it's called, the Stand Firm ability, which basically gives them objective secured and also gives them, I believe it's leadership. This is a very good, kind of XARC power, but unfortunately, we're going to want to be doing damage with this combination. So that power is kind of wasted with this. So we're not going to go with that. We're going to go with the Shredding Fire, which basically allows the Shuriken ability to take effect on a 5+ versus a 6+. We're also going to give the XARC 2 Avengers Shuriken Catapults to double his firepower, because when he is upgraded to an XARC, has an XARC power that is, he has ballistic skill of a 2+, which is much better and allows him to hit much easier. In addition, we're going to have the custom Crawford trait Hail of Doom. This will allow us to basically have hit rolls of a 6, automatically wound the target, and count as a 6 for the purposes of the Shuriken special rule, which means we're going to get -4 AP on those, and they're auto wounds. So guess what? Even against big targets, multi-wound targets, or really tough targets, it doesn't matter. It wounds the target and is at -4 AP to boot. So basically, this thing can take out a lot of different things. So there could be a light vehicle that your Dire Avengers shoot at, and he would obliterate it. These guys can kill a Wraith Lord. Almost kill a Wraith Lord. With Doom, they can definitely kill a Wraith Lord. So this is what's going to allow us to do most of the damage. Now, as far as the Stratagem goes, the reason why we're going to take this Stratagem, we're going to use 1 command point to use Bladestorm. This makes hit rolls of a 6 score an additional hit. Now, even though this additional hit is not affected by Hail of Doom, that means the additional hit does not count as a 6 to hit. It still is going to give us additional hits that are automatic and that could be used towards a wound roll. So very effective, and it basically increases the unit's damage pretty considerably. So I also want to just mention real quick, the Avengers of Azurian. So if at least one model in the unit is destroyed, you can shoot again at the end of the shooting phase. This is going to be situational, but if you are able to do it, do it. And the reason why, this ability basically doubles your damage if your unit has 1 or 2 casualties. So typically, the maximum amount would be just one model destroyed would proc this, and this allows you to shoot again. This is so, and again, because of guide and stuff like that lasting for an entire round, this is going to allow you to really pump out a lot of damage. Hail of Doom, all of those abilities will still apply, and I believe, unless they FAQ it, Bladestorm will still be in effect because both of these abilities, so Bladestorm ends at the end of the shooting phase, the effect, and this is at the end of the shooting phase. So they're technically both at the same time, unless they FAQ it, which they might FAQ this and say, actually, no, you can't use the Avengers of Azurian. It's not going to benefit from Bladestorm, but it's possible. So, yeah. It's something that's not probably always going to be in effect, but very well could be the difference between, your Dire Avenger unit just killing one single unit and killing 2 units in one turn. I mean, this is one of those, this is why I'm saying this combination is so overpowered. Rarely can a unit kill 2 other units in a single turn, unless it's like a super heavy or something like that. So, pretty insane. And then lastly, of course, all Eldar players, all old hands at playing the old Eldar are going to know that Guide can be used to allow the reroll. Allow the unit to reroll all failed misrolls, all failed hits. And in this edition, I didn't notice this at first, but Guide actually works in combat now too. So you can reroll combat and shooting hits. So, if you didn't kill the entire thing, you can also come in and assault and finish off the unit if needed. Okay, so let's just add all this together here, because I threw a lot of info at you and a lot of buffs at you, but let's actually look at the real math to this and see how much it actually does, right? So these are all approximate values. I just want to put that out there. They're not exact, okay? Some of you are going to be like, oh, no, it's not 30, it's not going to be this, or 22 hits, it's going to be 22.5, whatever, right? I could do this on a calculator, but I've been playing this game so long, it's basically going to be around this amount statistically speaking. So yes, I could do it on a calculator and get exact numbers for everybody, but these are the approximate numbers. So basically what it is this. You're going to have 33 shots firing at strength 4, AP -2. So let's take it into consideration that we're shooting at a toughness 4, 3+ armor save unit of 10. Like let's say 10 Space Marines. So of those 33 shots, about 22 of those are going to hit because they hit on 3+. And about 5 of those will be 6s. And that's going to generate 5 more auto hits with the Bladestorm special rule and 5 more auto wounds with Hail of Doom. Because remember, they proc on the same roll, which is a 6 to hit. Then with Guide, you're going to get about 8 more hits in, which will in turn generate 2 more auto hits because on average, you're going to get about 2 6s in there. If you're rolling about 11 or 12 dice that are going to be misses. And that's also going to be 2 more wounds that are automatic at AP -4. So what you end up with is, it's insane, but you actually end up with more hits than you did attacks to begin with. Okay, a little bit strange there, but according to the rules, it's totally legitimate, okay? Because basically Bladestorm generates additional hits with every 6 to hit, and you're re-rolling a lot of your attacks. So you're getting 37 hits. Now 7 of those are straight up going to be auto wounding at -4 AP. And those are going to be just auto wounds, automatically -4 AP. Now, after that, you're going to probably need, you're going to need 4s to wound. So if you have 30 hits that are rolling to wound normally, I'm not counting the auto wounds, you're going to get about 15 wounds dealt. Now, 10 of those, because we have the shredding fire ability, remember the XARC power, about 10 of those are going to end up being at AP -4. Because remember, 5+, if you have 15 wounds dealt, right, typically there's going to be 5 4s, 5 5s, 5 6s. And of course, your results could be much different. Dice gods be damned or be praised. But essentially, on average, you're going to get about 10 of them being at AP -4. Now, in total, what does this mean? It means you are dealing 17 wounds at AP -4, and 5 wounds at AP -2. Wow. Okay, so on average, this means that Marine squad of 10 that we were shooting at, unless the Emperor himself comes down and kisses each Marine right on the ass, basically they're dead. Besides some kind of miracle, like, some sort of invul save or some sort of stratagem that saves them from destruction, that gives them an invul save or some sort of feel no pain or whatever, that squad of 10 is going to die, pretty terribly as well, even with 2 wounds each. So, and keep in mind that, if this was a unit of Shining Spears, or if this was a unit of, fully kitted Howling Banshees, I might say, yeah, that squad of Marines should have died, because Howling Banshees are 18 points apiece, Shining Spears are 35 points apiece, and they're designed to kill Marines. These guys are not designed to kill Marines. In fact, they are an all-purpose shooting unit against general infantry. Dire Avengers are basically designed to combat against infantry, but they're not designed to wipe infantry out in one shooting phase. They're meant mostly to hold ground and to provide supporting fire for other units. So what is this unit doing that's basically just ripping units apart, like Space Marines, Terminators, anything it can get into grips with, dealing an insane amount of wounds at insane AP levels? So I think this really, and don't get me wrong, I actually love this, and I do think, though, this was a deliberate thing on GW's part. I think the writers of the rules wanted there to be ways of Eldar players figuring out combinations that allowed a unit to far surpass its actual abilities and what it was designed to do. So Dire Avengers not normally designed to be able to do this kind of damage. With the right strategy and tactics, just like I was talking about in last edition, Swooping Hawks, right? Being a 68-point unit that could eliminate 3 Terminators in a single turn with the right strategy. This unit is much of the same. With the right strategy and tactics, this unit can take out far more than its points worth in a single turn and come out of it unscathed and in a great position to do the same thing again if given the chance. And with the right support behind it, a unit of Dire Avengers that's kitted out this way can provide you so much value over the course of a game. I guarantee you, Dire Avengers are not a high priority target for a lot of enemy players. Put them in a Wave Serpent, move them up to the enemy, obliterate an enemy unit, and just watch their jaws drop as you drop on 20 wounds on them, 17 being an AP -4. So that's insane, right? I mean, Dire Avengers have never had this kind of power ever. And now, all of a sudden, GW does one thing. They move into the elite choice. They give us a lot of bonuses for using shuriken weapons and things like that. And all of a sudden, this unit is probably one of the most OP units in the Codex under the right conditions. And guess what? The reason why I say it's one of the most OP isn't just because they do a lot of damage. It's because their cost. They're very, very cost effective. So it's a unit of Dire Avengers, it's only 12 points a model. So what that means is if you have a squad of 10 with an XARC with an extra shuriken catapult, you're still only paying 120 points for the full unit. If you have shredding fire, I believe it's an additional 20. So 100 points for the unit. And that unit can take out easily 200 plus points in a single round of shooting. And, the math backs it up. Now, the funny thing about this is we didn't even factor in the fact that you could also do Doom. You could also use, Doom, or you could use any of those kind of, maledictions. You can put a Jinx on an enemy unit and stuff like that, make their armor worse. Reveal to negate their cover save. There's a lot of other things you can do as well to make the enemy unit even weaker than it was before. So pretty insane. I think overall this unit is going to see a lot of play, and I'm going to make a prediction right now. I made the prediction in my first impressions video, but I'm going to make the prediction that Dire Avengers are going to be one, if not one of the premier units in all Eldar competitive lists. I would be surprised if you saw an Eldar competitive list without a unit of Dire Avengers in it. So, in conclusion, I think Dire Avengers are basically insane now. They can put out massive amounts of damage, and a significant amount of this is going to be at a really high AP, -4 AP. Even, by the way, though, -2 AP is still nothing to laugh at. That's a really good AP value. But the fact that it's so easy to get -4 AP with those certain combinations just makes them even better. On top of that, with the right stratagems and the right craft roll traits, they have a chance to auto wound. So this means they can actually threaten units that would normally be without their range of fire. Monstrous creatures, vehicles even. Let's say that you need 6 or 7 wounds on a land raider and have nothing left. Well, okay, I'll shoot my Dire Avengers at it. I'll do auto wounds to them. That's pretty insane to me. And all of this is done at the very low cost of only 12 points a model. It's a relatively low investment of points compared to other units, and it's funny because Dire Avengers were 12 points in the previous edition. So essentially what happened is they just got even cheaper and better, point for point. Because of course they're much upgraded. They should have been increased in cost probably by a couple points, but they just haven't been. They've remained at 12 plus upgrades. And not to mention, all Aspect Warriors basically now have a 5+ invulnerable save on top of it all. So not only are they, dealing more damage, the Dire Avengers, but they're also surviving much better. And we get to use the upgraded, new and improved battle focus. So after we're done destroying an enemy unit, we can protect ourselves by moving back into terrain or moving away from their assaulting units, etc. So if you're going to be playing some Eldar games pretty soon, try this out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Now, you have to have the right setup. You can't go in there with an Iandan list and expect Dire Avengers to work the same way. But if you're using the custom craft roll traits and you use the combination that I've explained in this video, I guarantee you, if you are able to shoot with that unit at full strength and the enemy doesn't realize it, it's going to be a unit dead. Whatever you want, it's going to be dead. So if any of you do end up trying this, let me know. Tell me how it works out. I've play tested this a few times. I haven't had an official game with it, but I've play tested it with somebody that I know. And it works. It's very effective if it can go off. So try it out and tell me how it worked. And that's it for today. I'm going to have more videos coming later this week. Hope you guys learned something and have a good one, everybody. See you guys next time.